Welcome to the People's Perspective, everybody.
Welcome. Remember, the People's Perspective is brought to you by Adam and Eve, Nigeria's #1 homeware superstore. That is a tried, tested, trusted homeware store providing luxurious lifestyle products that reflects the class, style, and personality of their clientele by providing an extreme range of products to suit all tastes.
Yes. And as I always say, the feng shui. Don't forget the feng shui.
Of course, you can never forget the feng shui. Anyways, to celebrate our 1-year anniversary, of course, we have to do it in style. So we have a very special guest in the studio.
Drum roll.
He goes by the name Dele Farotimi, who is a political activist. He's a lawyer. He's an author. And I would leave Seun to actually do the proper introduction.
There's no other proper introduction to do. Egmont is somebody I look up to a lot. And he has also lectured on our MOP platform.
Oh, fantastic.
And if you look at the caliber of people that have lectured on my MOP platform, in fact, Egmont is the first Nigerian we've had on the platform. We've had immense teachers, and this goes to show how much I respect his intellect, his insights, and analysis on what is going on in Nigeria. His seminal work, Don't Die in Their War, is still one of the most hard-hitting literatures on the current affairs, linking what is going on now with our political history. So, I mean, if you've not bought a copy, you should get it now. I'm trying to smuggle a signed copy of a new one he just did. I forgot the name.
The Imperatives of Nigerian Revolution.
The Imperatives of the Nigerian Revolution,
Fantastic.
Exactly, which is the new book he just released. And we'll go into that one as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely delve into
as the
that.
show goes on. So, without further ado, let me welcome the inimitable, the immutable Dele Farotimi.
At the rate. All right. Good morning, everybody. At the rate you guys are going, they're going to make me start floating all around.
It's all right. It's allowed.
Okay,
we have
if I
enough
start
space
floating in there, it will just become one of those things straight out of St.
No, in case you don't know, if it's my firefly, she will come up and
my
get
head
it.
is already swelling. Thank you very much, Ife. Thanks
You're
for having
very
me.
welcome,
Thanks,
Ben.
Seun. It's a pleasure to be with you. I must say that the infectious nature of your welcome almost made me breach protocol and just break out laughing while we were at it. And you guys at home listening on radio, you should see Ife. She's the proper decoration on the Christmas tree. If the truth be told. She's sparkling.
Thank you.
I mean, I tell you people, I always tell you people that refuse to come on live, you see what we are seeing here.
I wouldn't say it's the Beauty and the Beast, I assure you. Cheryl is actually, no, I'm the Beast in the picture.
No,
I said the beast. Everybody that near this guy will bite you.
Anyways, let's get into the show for today. As usual, we're going to touch on some of the top stories for the week.
Yes.
We're going to touch on 2 top stories for the week. But the third story, we're going to focus on an area that Mr. Dele particularly has a piqued interest in, which is the Constitution. And then we'll segue into his book. So let's start off.
Books. My man's an author of books.
Books.
Books. Put the S.
Thank you very much.
Let us start off with one top story, which is the federal government to lift the Twitter ban in a matter of days. And this is according to Lai Mohammed. Now, the federal government hinted that the over 2 months ban, which seems like it's been a ban that has been here for years. I don't know, for some reason, it feels like it's been longer than just 2 months that they banned Twitter.
Really, because as I said, when we did the show, I said I've never tweeted.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know.
Fantastic. Anyway, so he's saying that the government might lift the over 2 months ban. And he did say that they'd reached an agreement with Twitter in most areas of the misunderstanding that they had. If you take a look back at what happened on the 5th of June, the federal government had officially banned Twitter indefinitely, thereby restricting it from operating in Nigeria. But as you know, Nigerians always find a way through VPN, and they've still been tweeting.
Yes,
but
and
Twitter
the Europeans
hasn't been
and
the same,
Asians
really.
find a way to profit
I'm currently in Norway. And I'm tweeting in Lagos.
Anyways, of course, this rides off of the back of the deleted tweet from the president's official Twitter page that was seen as somewhat inciting.
Damboro Oba. I mean, that's the first word out of President Buhari's mouth.
General Buhari, please.
General President.
Presidente General.
Presidente General.
So, when that happened, the federal government did release a statement, hence banning Twitter indefinitely. Now, a few other things being said regarding, this recent agreement between the federal government and Twitter. One being that there's a possibility that Twitter would be opening up an office here in Nigeria. And they're also saying that whatever the case might be, whatever, they have come into agreement, Twitter will or might come back next year, not even this year. So 2022, not even 2021. So they're saying that, talks are still in place, negotiations are still in place, and Twitter might be back in 2022.
Wouldn't it be amazing if Twitter comes to Nigeria and somebody from Uncle Lai Mohammed's family becomes the head of Twitter in Nigeria?
Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, wouldn't that be amazing?
It will be amazing.
That will show that there's full reconciliation.
But, okay, so gentlemen, just driving this conversation, we've seen the progression, so to speak, of this ban and how Nigerians resisted it somewhat through finding a way to get back on Twitter. And the fact that we know that Nigeria has lost money from that, because we know that was a platform that somewhat created an ease of doing business for, small and medium businesses who, use that as a platform to get a greater reach, reaching out to their clientele and what have we. And now that the federal government has come out to say that, there's a possibility that Twitter would come back, there are people that are of the opinion that, of course, it's going to benefit a lot of these businesses that somewhat stalled because, Twitter was banned. But on the other hand, seeing some of the terms and the conditions, we're hearing that Twitter might be opening up an office in Nigeria in 2022. How do you think this affects the freedom that Twitter brought when people had that opportunity to express themselves whichever way they wanted?
I will let Egbon be the one to analyze this, but before we go on, I must gloat. Let me just take my 1 second to do my victory dance. If people remember when this issue started 3 months ago,
yes,
I predicted that imperialists must find solution. Imperialists must come to agreement. That this will end in an agreement, that this issue had no fundamentals in rights, had no fundamental in humanity, was all about imperialist interest. And now they have proved me right. After that, I don't even want to say anything again. Egbo, please analyze the issues that our beautiful butterfly. Yemi spirit, leave me. We have one caller that calls this and calls Ify butterfly. He's an enemy. I want you to remember when he calls. He will call.
So when he calls, I have to remember he's an enemy.
He's an enemy. Yes.
I will be sure to remember
him.
I will.
So my firefly, I want you to address what she's addressing.
Okay.
I'm happy that Seun gets to frame the ideological perspective from where I'll begin to deal with the question you have raised. When you were talking, the only thing I jotted down said loss of revenue by businesses. That's the only thing I jotted in that. And there is a reason why I did that. It is because, as Seun would then end up summing it up, he says capitalists would always find business solutions. Imperialists. You see, I'm not going to be borrowing Seun's many because Seun has very deep ideological groundings.
Yes.
And I've never been a man of ideologies. I've always simply been about finding solutions to problems. But I also cannot discount the place of ideologies in shaping our perspectives and worldviews. And I respect the grounding. But the thing is, the way I would prefer to perhaps define the issue is that, in the first place, as he has pointed out, there were no substantive issues related to rights. It was about the impunity of a president who felt his ego had been bruised and who responded reflexively as the tyrant that he is. And in responding, he clamped down on the rights of those who should be citizens but are not citizens. Because nobody remembered my rights to freedom of expression when the restriction on the platform was placed on those rights. Those restrictions are completely unconstitutional. But that is Dogon Turenchi. Instead of wasting my own time, since nobody has established a crime that I'll be committing if I continue to use Twitter, I simply bypassed the idiocy of the ban and simply I discovered something they call VPN. Unlike Seun, who is a Luddite, I know how to use Twitter. Is a platform that is not unlike.
I use it. I just don't use it personally.
Oh, I use it a lot. I discovered it a couple of years back, and I found that it's like my childhood street in Ibadan. It's like Igboro, proper as Igboro. Everybody is rough and tumble. And on the street, you establish the right and to stay in a corner.
Yes.
You establish the right to stay in the corner. If you establish it with respect, people will respect you. So I find that I enjoy Twitter. They're ready to rough and tumble.
Yes.
I enjoy the feel.
I need my sanity and my time. So I don't use too much. I'm operating my Instagram. Someone else is operating my Facebook. Someone else is operating my Twitter. I can't do all. I'll go crazy.
Truth is the poor man whose rights were discounted whilst Buhari is having his ego thing, enjoying himself. They are the ones who end up losing. That's why we're talking about the loss of revenue. Who is losing revenue? It's the poor man on the street, the young man who is hustling, using the platform to generate business. Those are the people losing money. The Nigerian government doesn't mind losing money at all. It doesn't make any difference. They throw money away every day. They burn it daily. We've been burning money in this country for...
NNPC just bought 20% of Dangote's refinery for $2 billion.
And so, listen, not be today we they burn money for Nigeria, but the real losers in all of this are the citizens. Oh, sorry, I keep using
the masses.
They are not even. Stop. Let's call them indigents. The indigents, which public?
They are the public.
A public must be conscious
to
find itself. A public consists of citizens.
My answer that indigents are not conscious. Are conscious? Our indigents.
Indigents.
The ancestors are conscious, Baba.
Well, I'm not talking about our ancestors. I'm talking about their inheritors.
Okay.
The unthinking ones.
These indigents.
Yeah, these indigents.
Oh, indigents. I'll start using that now. I used to call them Buhari's children.
Or you can call them subjects.
But subjects.
Yeah. Is either indigent or subject. The Nigerian is not a citizen.
And you're bad, Baba. Your mouth is bad.
Because none of us are citizens. We can stop fooling ourselves.
Oh my goodness.
Some of us have claimed citizenship.
No. What you have claimed is your rebel status.
Okay.
When the state has denied to recognize your citizenship and you are insisting on the rights of citizenship, that is when you become a rebel.
Okay. So
you are a rebel.
Okay.
If you go to my Twitter page, I call myself citizen of an unborn nation.
Oh,
because
wow.
if you are a Nigerian, you are not a citizen.
No,
so
that's why they always say masses. I've never heard the Nigerian president say my citizens, my fellow citizens.
He knows they are not. He doesn't fool himself. We are the ones who have perpetually fooled ourselves. We actually hypnotized ourselves into believing that we are citizens. It's unbelievable.
It's true. Because it's masses. Even in the newspaper. The Nigerian masses.
We always masses.
Masses.
Useless population. That's what's called a mass.
Yes, now
because if it is useful, it would have identity. It would have identity. You call them
journalists
citizens.
will be using it. This is how you know the entrenchment of the tyranny of our elites in this country into the psyche of all our professionals.
Now, just taking a look at how powerful a tool Twitter is and how this particular government used it to somewhat get into power based on how powerful it was with disseminating information and all that. Knowing that the 2023 election is coming up and knowing that they're bringing, or there's a possibility that Twitter might come back in 2022, but with this government having so much power on Twitter, saying that if they're going to agree to, open up an office in Nigeria, what do you think this would mean for the 2023 elections if this government has that much power over the social media giant in Nigeria?
Let's be clear about something. Nigerians are not on Twitter. Anybody who is really looking to change Nigeria should understand very clearly that Twitter, as useful as it is, as entertaining as it can be,
I've been telling them,
it's just a fact.
Change Nigeria.
No, social media is not going to change Nigeria. We can use it as a platform for mobilization.
And mobilizing of a certain class.
No, there is a problem. You see, here is the problem with Nigeria. Ordinarily, you will say that the Nigerians that you find on social media are members of the middle class, whether that is a lower middle class or the upper middle class. But unfortunately, Nigeria is not a place that has a middle class. We have an existential class. So that existential class, you'll find it on social media, both the aspirational middle class, the poor that are struggling, because everybody in Nigeria is struggling to get out of poverty. Even the rich, the poverty mentality has them entrapped. That's why they keep stealing more than they can spend in 100 lifetime.
Wow.
It's a poverty thing. So there is a poverty.
Anything can happen.
Anything, exactly. So they keep stealing even when they don't need to steal. So you find that it's a cycle.
Yes.
So when you talk about the social media or Twitter particularly in this case as being of any particular use in 2023, I'll tell you straight up, no, it is not. I'm particularly happy that it's gone. I'm even hoping that they'll take away every other. So, look, the sooner Buhari and our ruling class shows their hand, the better for everybody. When they showed, see, look at what has happened. A man wakes up one day and he felt slighted by the deletion of a tweet that should never have issued from a leader or a ruler or even anybody holding any position of power over a corporate entity like Nigeria. And Twitter did everybody a favor and deleted it. And then in a tantrum, you go ahead and ban Twitter. Now, here is the thing with Nigeria. I've maintained for a long time that our problem is not corruption, is impunity. When a president can summarily abridge the rights, economic and social, of vast swathes of the populace, whom I can call citizens, without even thinking about the effect, and in spite of the fact that there has been stringent calls for this unjust and illegal ban to be overturned, and there has been complete silence and equivocations and all kind of revisionism going on to justify what should never have happened. And then all we're talking about now is they are going to reopen or not reopen. They are going to open office in Nigeria, they will not open office in Nigeria. Those of us who can bypass the ban by using VPN, we are already using VPN, and everybody is living together happily ever after. Nobody is talking.
The governor of Oyo State is still tweeting.
Yes, now. Nobody is talking about the substantive issue, which is the impunity that the president deployed in abridging the rights. So let me say it this way.
Yes.
Twitter is of no consequence to what might or might not happen if we do get or do not get to 2023 to have an election. Fact of the matter is we need to wake up quickly. Let them even take away Facebook, Instagram, everything,
Maybe
so that we can hit the road.
Reduce.
The distraction will reduce.
And, for me, I tell people, like, Nkrumah did not have even email when he liberated Africa. And there's no party in Africa. Even the ANC wasn't as big as the CPC then. And what they were able to accomplish, not only in Ghana, the inspiration to liberate all West African countries, all East African, come on. These people did not even have a one single electronic messaging service, except Telegram. I didn't know how hard it was to send a telegram.
We're not here by accident, Seun. We're not here by accident. I recall that I've referred to this severally. I did a piece for AM newspaper back in 1995. I was student union president in LASU, and they came to ask me. That's why we have become desperate, because electing shoe time is going. And it will soon be evening tide and one will be gone. And then one is gone and we are leaving these monsters for our children to fight. Your dad fought all his life, left you the same monsters.
I'm 38.
I'm 53. I don't want to leave these monsters for my children to slay. My children are not equipped to fight this monster. So it is critical that whilst we live, we properly define these monsters for them, even if we can't kill it, so that they understand clearly the nature of the struggle in front of them. Look,
we must pass the torch.
No. We mustn't pass this torch. We must light this fire.
No.
You are passing the torch. Suggest a relay.
Because me, I'm looking at Nigerians and Africans in general. And I don't think they are ready now in this generation. They are not.
No. I refuse to accept that. I would have died a failure if I die believing what you just said. I can't accept it.
One of my biggest, one of the big experiments I do with young people is I say, okay, so if there's a class that you're holding a class in Nigeria right now to give us the solutions and the acting, okay, and we announce it, we give it, maybe we even put $15 million behind the publicity of this your program. And Gucci opens the shop and says, oh, he's giving out free clothes the same day. Where do you think there'll be more activity?
You see, this thing you said, Seun, I have lived my lifetime hearing this, sometimes saying exactly the same words. But I have come to a place now where I realize that I hold the future generation a duty to ensure that I go beyond saying these things. Here is the issue.
We have to go beyond that.
We have to. And the reason, that was why I said it's not a torch. We're not passing on any torch. We have to light that fire. Reason is this. I watched these archlings in my youth. Fela sang about them in my youth. You know why they call Fela a prophet? He simply spoke the truth. He didn't see no future. He simply spoke the truth. He was saying what he was saying. So I saw these things too. I saw them growing up. I saw Obasanjo. I saw Operation Feed the Nation, which has moved into Obasanjo Farms, Nigeria today. I saw Babangida. I saw all of them. I saw them. I smelt the tear gas of Alimos go in Aberdeen College and Aberdeen Village. I was in the primary school in UI in 77. So I saw these monsters as archlings. And I'm telling you that if this generation shall fail to kill the monsters, I'm not talking about human beings. I'm talking about the systemic monstrosity of the Nigerian state, where those who should be citizens have been reduced to serfdom. And the system serves only the rulers without any regard whatsoever to the interest of those who should be citizens that have been reduced to subjects. The fact of the matter is that if this generation shall fail, Nigeria is lost.
Well, maybe I used the wrong phrase. Maybe passing the torch is the wrong phrase.
We can't pass it. We must light that fire. Light the fire. We have to light that fire.
Well, I think a lot of us are lighting the fire,
No, we have to go beyond. What we are doing is we are stoking the fire. But we are not connecting the people to the purpose. That is where I say that we need to go beyond talking about the problem. We now need to begin to paint pictures of the solutions for the people. They don't read anymore, so paint them pictures. If you say the system is not working, what works? Let's go beyond criticizing the system. Let's now put concrete alternatives on the table. This works. Let people now disagree and say, no, that doesn't work, and then profile other ideas. At that point, you are taking these ruiners that we call rulers, you are taking them into deep waters because they can't debate ideas. They have none in their heads.
I like that. But my issue is that conversation still has to be a conversation that young people have an interest in.
We find them where they are.
No, definitely. We go to them. I mean, we do this work.
Any choice.
And we do this work. Even in my organization, we do the street work.
No, I know you do it.
We do all the work.
I know you do it.
The issue is that billions of dollars spent every year to distract young people in this country.
I agree.
So it is from that perspective that now I see that young people must now willfully also be willing to lift themselves out of that cloud.
Let me ask you one question here. How many young people do you think it will require to change Nigeria?
Not a lot.
Like how many?
Probably 200,000.
And you really think that if we purposefully design a way forward and take that to this mass of Nigerians, and we will not find 200,000 among them.
That's what I'm saying. That that's actually past the
We
touch.
are the ones who are failing.
Past the touch is wrong.
I agree.
We will find them, but I've seen Nigeria. I don't think that in my own lifetime
we must
see the end.
We have to.
But I know that definitely in this, from what we are doing, definitely the next generation will be able to, if we do that work right, they will have the weapons needed to slay the beast.
See, there is
I see this generation as a generation that will build and manufacture the weapons that will give to the next generation to slay the beast.
No,
because
time till law,
all the people in my generation that should be doing the work, they are all bought over. Everybody is enjoying life, flying private jet up and down.
They are still, my brother, I have no choice. But you remember before we came on here, we were talking about look and laugh. I don't want to sing look and laugh.
I feel you.
I don't want to sing look and laugh. When I was writing, there was a piece I wrote about a little over a year ago. I titled it, I Do Not Write For You. What I was saying in the piece was that if this generation does not hear me, the generation coming after would hear me and understand, because what I have said would have stood the test of time because they are truthful. And now they'll be calling me a prophet, maybe in like 50 years' time, just as we're calling Fela a prophet today. But that would only be because I have spoken the truth. However, I have realized in recent times that is actually a cop-out. I do write for them, but I am writing against them. I'm recording history so that history will say that they were told. Because if this generation shall actually fail to deliver Nigeria to the next generation, let me tell you what the future holds for Nigeria.
Oh, I know.
ISWAP is already entrenched in the northeast. Bandits are running the northwest. The north central is essentially Fulani terrorist heartland. Those same people have crossed into the north and into the southeast. They are in the south and they are in the southwest. Eventually, there will be reactions, as there are already reactions. I am telling you that the future of Nigeria going forward tells me that there will be several slow-burning civil war. Now, the same Nigerian state is busy forgiving placard-carrying terrorists, whilst their victims are sat in refugee camps, IDP camps. The dynamics neglected, criminally neglected. That
bombed from time to time.
Yes, once in a while. Yeah, just for practice. Just for practice.
To increase their national spirit.
So now this is not a recipe for a sustainable state. What you then find in that kind of space is that there will continually be fractious wars. Now, I don't want my children, whom I have not trained to deal with wars, whom I have also not bought a plan B for whom I do not have a second home anywhere. I do not possess one. This Nigeria.
The advice of
lie. Now me and them for this country. I ain't going nowhere. Lie. I am right here. All of us are here together. I mean, we can't run.
Egmont, you didn't take the advice of the Lord?
Where am I going? You are not getting it. Where am I going? Where am I going? To go and do what in England or America? To be what? Another nigger? Another Floyd? What's that one's name?
Floyd Mayweather.
No, not even Mayweather. The guy that they killed in Minnesota, George Floyd. To become another statistics of white hatred? No. I would rather be if I must be a statistics, let me be a statistics in the war for Nigeria's liberation.
No, my own plan is that my wife and kid, they go out. Me, I want to fight. At the end of the war, I want to own the whole of Ireland. All my friends, that's my plan. After we finish the whole Ireland axis, I'm going to control them fully. Nobody.
All right, let's go to the phone lines and WhatsApp messages. In case you would like to join the conversation, let us see your perspective. You could give us a call, 0809-234-5913, 0809-222-0913, 01515-0913. 015151913. I think it's going to be Ebuka call first. For some reason, it just... Hello?
Let Ebuka talk.
Ebuka, thank you. I thank you.
I was hoping that I would be wrong.
Honestly, thank you very much for this very education you have given to us. Because I was just thinking about it. Buhari, who was handling his research? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
And because we are fatherless, we are children that doesn't have father. Talking about masses. So I was praying a prayer. I told these people, let's any place your name.
Ebuka.
Hello.
This your line bad today, Ebuka.
It's breaking off. Lagos Talks. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, good morning. Who's speaking?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Calling from Italy.
Oh,
Hi,
Mr.
Mr.
T.
T.
Birthday boy. Birthday boy, how are you?
I'm all right.
He had his birthday last week. Oh,
You did? You didn't invite us? Nothing.
Mr.
Mr.
No
T.
gelato. No gelato.
Mr. T.
No pizza. No pasta.
He wants to say hello to Mr. Dele. All right. So,
Who agree? This end of birthday drinks.
all right, carry on.
All right, cool. So my own contribution is I'm thinking like, when it comes to the nation, there are things that distract the people, like you said, like the Twitter and the rest. But I also think another thing, the main thing that distracts people is their core value. So people valuing things over people. So my question is, how can we change, this ideology that people need to get things, they value things? Because I think it started off even since the slave era, people were being sold, for material things, for mirrors and all those kind of things. So how can we eliminate this evil ideology, because it pains me to see that Africans, think this way, don't really have love for their neighbors, because it's only self-hate that will make you see your neighbor in a very demeaning manner, to value things, foreign-made things over people. So how can we change this conversation? That's my own question and contribution.
Thank you, brother.
All right, Mr. Dele, would you like to answer that?
Yes, please. See, for over 400 years or thereabout, the black man has had ignorance weaponized against him. First, it was the white man weaponizing ignorance against us, miseducating us, taking us away from our original, not only our spirituality, but even our educational paths.
Yes.
When the white man left, the ones he educated to think the way he wants them to think took over the duty of educating the rest of the populace. And this has happened all over Africa. So what you find very quickly is that the materialistic mindset that were infused into the original slave trading African chiefs have been passed down through the centuries and it's come through the ruling class as well. So you find that there are only two classes in Africa: the materialist elite class, both political and
Business
and economic, and that political class is not necessarily just political by way of ballot paper, is whether it came to power by however they achieve power. The purpose of power in Africa is to acquire material, not to build. None of them have ever been afflicted by the genius of Kim in North Korea to start building crazy roads to nowhere, or to start building nuclear plants, or to just be crazy enough to do something to want history to remember them by.
Yes.
So it's always been about, I want to steal. That's why somebody like Abacha is still giving money from his grave.
Wow.
And yet the person who is fighting anti-corruption said Abacha never stole. And instead of calling it loot, I think they had another name for it when Malami was talking about Abacha's money the other day.
Repatriated funds.
He said repatriated fund. It wasn't loot anymore. So we are sanitizing corruption because it was never really about corruption. It was about impunity, and it was also about acquisition of power to acquire materials. Now, on the other side, the people we call the mass of the people, what has happened is that they've been educated both religiously and socially to accept whatever they are told by a class that is ruled only by materialistic considerations. And that class now forces those ones into an existential race. So in a state like Lagos, for instance, where we live, the average person is spending between 6 to 8 hours in traffic on a daily basis. When is he going to read? What is he going to read? If he's not thinking about paying school fees, he's thinking about paying hospital bills. He's thinking about something or the other, some rent. There is something grabbing your attention. You are not in the best frame of mind. Who is tweeting? He's not tweeting. He's not doing anything. He's existing. He's just existing.
Exactly.
So you find that our problem arising out of weaponized ignorance is that we've been rendered completely materialistic and existential. So you are either pursuing money that you don't need,
Yes.
or you are pursuing survivor. It's not even money you're pursuing now, you're pursuing survivor.
Wow.
So that is the bane of the African.
And those with the money are afraid of becoming those that are pursuing survival.
No, the problem goes beyond their fear. It's actually poverty. The richest people in Nigeria are the poorest.
Of course.
Because when a man has stolen enough to last 100 generations and he continues to steal without being tainted by the genius of insanity to come to the point of, I want to build the best roads in this state. I want to be remembered for building the only functional healthcare system in this state. None of them have ever been touched by any genius. And when you go into their private spaces, the money they have stolen, even in interpreting their sick visions, go to their private spaces. The money unhurts their poverty. They buy what they don't need. They buy baubles.
The houses are obnoxious. That's all I can say.
Absolutely.
Maybe you are less flowery than I am.
In fact, and Nigerians, I mean, we are trapped. And people are really trapped in this mindset because I gave an analysis on my show and somebody was like, oh, I was talking about buying a car and I'm criticizing Dino Melaye for buying car. I'm like,
I work for my money.
not even that. We cannot hold. Me, I'm an artist. I can go in the middle of the ocean and throw all my money inside. It is nobody's business. But people that are in charge of our commonwealth, people that benefit from our commonwealth, from our political opportunities, from land, from our oil, from our resources, people that benefit from these things, it is their duty to build this nation. It is their duty to create dreams.
See.
Without programs, look at in Nigeria now. If you are a history, if you study history in university, you are nothing. You'll be on the street. But there's no program. If you are a nuclear physicist, there's no program. All this money people used to buy Rolls Royce and fly plane that they are taking from the Nigerian Commonwealth is what they should be using to build these dreams, to engage all these youths. Teaching in Nigeria is how much do you make a year if you're a teacher? Any teacher in Nigeria making up to 10 million naira a year?
How now?
That's what I'm saying. Impossible.
Like how?
Teaching must be a coveted job in a nation that is developing. If our teachers cannot earn at least $100,000 a year, what is the point? Why would they want to teach? Why would children want to become teachers? Go to university. I went to my primary school. I asked all the children, what do you want to be? Every one of them.
Politician.
Okay. Musician. They are not yet, they are young, primary school.
Oh, they are not corrupt.
They are still
yet.
young.
Okay.
So they are thinking of doing it legit. So they're like, musician, athlete,
Footballer.
actor. Finish.
And now, but you see,
Doctor, nobody, I say not single
You see,
doctor.
Seun, you've touched on something, but you've not, perhaps you've made the connection already. When you go to America, the average black kid wants to be either an athlete or a musician.
That's all we see.
Because the road to other opportunities are closed
That's all we even
to
see,
him.
Baba.
So see those kids that you're talking to, they can see that
Wow.
in Nigeria,
Yeah.
the road to other opportunities are closed to them. Some of them have uncles with first class in the university whom their fathers are
taking care of.
feeding.
But it is not even that the road is closed. It's that at the end of it, the bad degree. When I get
That's
this
the
degree,
closed road.
what is at the end of it?
That's the closed road.
But now, it's not even that now. We need people that are aspiring to be. Because for me, it is important because you grow up now. You see?
No. That's the contradiction in time. How can you expect anyone to aspire to be something he can see is a closed road?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That because the nation and society is in a way that these things are not things to aspire to be. No child in Nigeria wants to be a teacher.
Let me ask you one question.
So if there's no aspiration for that, how can we say we are building a nation?
Is there anyone you've known in your 38 years of being a Nigerian that has held public office, I'm not talking about Baba Olikoye now, that you would love to aspire to be or have any of your... No, in our national
let
life.
me give you a story about my uncle. Is it this thing you said about Uncle Koye? I thought the same thing too. So one day I was in Abuja with Uncle Koye, when he was working under Obasanjo. Now, you see, Uncle Koye is the most educated person in our family. And he's the one that worked for the government twice after they killed his brother. The only one that refused to fight them. You see, because I tell my people that have gone to school, be careful. My uncle, who are chilling, so I went to see him in his hotel room, So I said to him, Uncle, how can you be working with Obasanjo? You have to quit this government and run for president. If you run for president by yourself,
you will never win. Lie.
I said, the whole Nigerians will vote for you. You're a Kuti.
Lie.
We will put our name behind you, everything. Anyway, this was me talking to my uncle. But don't put your mouth.
He knows better.
Uncle, and I said, and most of all, this is the point I'm trying to make out. Most importantly, you will not be corrupt. Everybody knows you will not steal, so everybody will trust you. He just laughed. He said, Masobe. We don't say that. Don't say that. They now said it in English. You don't know the kind of temptations these people will put in front of you. As soon as he said that, he gave me the solution. He said, the trick is never to answer their call at all. So I'm like, that is the trick. So I always use that. When they say come for meeting, when they call me, I just say I'm not coming. Because I don't trust myself in front of $20 million. I don't trust myself. So I just refused. Even when Macron was coming to Shrine, they called me. I was in France. I was on tour. That he wants to come and pick. I should come to Lagos with him. I've never met him. I don't know him. I said, I can't come to Lagos with you. I'm working. I used my job immediately as an excuse. I'm working. I'm in set. He said, I'll send the presidential jet to Montpellier. The people said they will send the president to Montpellier to pick me. They will fly back to Paris to pick the president. We will now fly back to Lagos together. I said, by the time we come down, how will I tell my Pan-Africanist colleagues that I did not collect anything? How will I explain by the time I'm coming down the plane with Macron that me, Babode, they will say, we've heard.
I can understand where you're coming from when you say that. But I have a bad habit. And my bad habit is that I am known for entering anywhere to talk to anybody. It does not change what I'll do one bit. I have no care in the world for what the person might come out to say that I did with him, as long as I didn't do anything with him. He can go ahead and tell the world I took his money. Me, I know I didn't take a dime from him, and anyone who really knows me will know that I'm not for sale. I'm not a rich man. But I understand the fact that all I owe humanity is my grave.
For conversation,
if
I
I'm
don't
blessed.
mind. I can go and talk anywhere, but
I'll go.
It's in time
All right,
they are
gentlemen.
meeting.
We need to bring this to a close because we have run out of time, and we need to. Yeah, I know, right? But just taking a look at all the things that have been spoken about today, this dysfunctionality of Nigeria. Let's tie it to the Constitution, because we know that the Constitution is the bedrock of every nation. And if the Constitution is faulty, everything that emanates from it will be faulty. And we know that you have a particularly piqued interest when it comes to the Nigerian Constitution. Now, with conversations about either the overhaul or the amendment of the Constitution, what is your stance on that conversation? Does Nigeria need an overhauled constitution, or does Nigeria need an amended constitution?
Number one, Nigeria does not have a constitution today. Nigeria is being governed by Decree 24 of 1999. It does not have a constitution. The fraudulent paper that is called the 1999 Constitution is properly called by its proper name, Decree 24 of 1999. Now, so insofar as it relates to the desirability for a new constitution, see that phrase, new constitution, is fraudulent. It should be the need for a constitution. Let's be clear about that. The word true, a new constitution is not unlike true federalism. That's another fraudulent phrase. There is nothing called true federalism. Is it that true or is not true? Is it that federalism or is not federalism? So insofar as it relates to the need for a new constitution, quote and unquote, that is a fraud. We do not have a constitution today. We have a decree governing us. Now, why is this important? This important distinction must be made because constitutions are made by citizens. It is an expression of citizenship. Settling a constitution is saying that this is how I wish to be governed. It is the inalienable right of a human being to self-determination that is expressed in writing a constitution. All 200 million quote and unquote Nigerians are not going to be sat in a place to write one. But it would also not be a novel experiment. Nigerians have written constitutions in the past. Before the 1960 independence, there were several constitutional conferences and Nigerians negotiated. They bargained. They gave things up to get some things. Everybody didn't get everything they wanted. Ahmadu Bello would have preferred to have Sharia full-fledged in northern Nigeria, but he opted for the penal code and avoided bringing Sharia criminal law into the public spaces. The only Sharia that was permitted was the Sharia as it relates to personal laws, intestacy and marriage. End of story. He was never allowed to cross into the area of criminality. So when it came to the 1960 Constitution, there were years of negotiations that culminated in what became known as the Independence Constitution of 1960. It was midwifed, to be sure, by the British, but Nigerians negotiated. They spoke to themselves. And at the point of independence, they agreed to have a federation of 3 regions. Those 3 regions were largely independent of each other. And they entered the federation on those terms. Some part of what used to be Nigeria elected not to join that union and left to join Cameroon. Other parts could have chosen not to be part of the Nigerian state, but they negotiated and agreed the foundation and basis for membership of the Nigerian state. So they expressed their rights and free will as citizens to the extent of this of the space allowed them, because to be sure, there were agitations by the minorities who also wanted more rights. That was what led to the enshrinement of the Bill of Rights in the 1960 Constitution. It was the agitation of the minorities whose rights were protected. They were the ones who felt threatened by the big 3 and were demanding the protection of their rights. So this was enshrined in that constitution. By 1962, these 3 regions also agreed that they needed to create a Midwest region. So you had a plebiscite in 1962, which led to the creation of the 4th and the 4th region in 1963. That plebiscite was preceded by the passage of a 2/3 majority resolution in the Western House of Assembly, which was done again in the Federal House of Representatives in Lagos, and a plebiscite was duly held in the place, and it passed, and a 4th region was created. That was the rigorous extent they went to create a 4th region. By the time the military came in 1966, the will of the Nigerian people was hijacked. What were 4 regions in 1966 are today 36 states. Not one plebiscite was held. It was the imperative of men, base crooks like Babangida, like Obasanjo. These were the men who created more states in Nigeria. Yakubu Gowon, the naive one who said the only problem we had was how to spend money. Those were the ones who were creating states. Wow. So what were 4 regions are today 36 states without the expressed will of the Nigerian people. So yes, Nigeria needs a new constitution. It needs to talk to itself about how it wishes to be governed. The oppression of the few by the many, and it cuts across, it's not about tribe, it's a class.
And
we need a constitution, not a new one.
Yes.
A constitution.
Wow.
Why is it so hard? We have to remember is that dialogue is something to be held between human beings, and our elites, both economic and business, do not see the people of Nigeria as human beings and do not see the need for them to have dialogue with animals.
Unfortunately,
so, yes. So this is the real issue, and we must be the ones to claim our humanity. It is not in their hands. We must insist on our humanity. We can even have this conversation without them, and this is one of the greatest techniques we can organize and remove them from the conversation if they don't want to, since they don't want to be a part of it. Remove them. By the time we are done, they are already made redundant.
I'm actually tempted to also even ask, what's the way forward? Seeing that the political elites are benefiting from the flawed constitution that we're functioning by, and them being the same people spearheading the amendment, what can the Nigerian citizen or populace do about it?
We need to get off Twitter, we can employ radio because it reaches more people. But we need to get off our ideological hashes, all of us, and get into the market, speak to the agberos, because they have had their lives just as mortgaged as our own are being mortgaged as well. So if we fail to connect the people to the problem, we're just wasting time. They must be connected to the problem before anything would ever change. Political education is critical because the normalization of this madness has happened because of our complicit silence. When you keep quiet, madness becomes normal. So somebody is walking around naked. We have already normalized insanity in our space.
Yes.
But if we refuse to normalize it, what happens is that you begin to demystify the subject.
Of course.
When you call thieves by their proper name, don't call them rulers. They are not rulers. They are ruiners. When you call them crooks, because they are crooks, what it does is that it encourages the next man to find the courage to call them what they are and to see them as what they are.
Wow. All right, so let's get into your books, before we wrap this up. Would you like to talk us through some of the books that you've written?
Well, let me say this. I have 3 books logged. I had 3 books logged in me before I can start writing the kind of books that might give me pleasure.
Wow.
They are painful books to write. I've written 2 of them. The first was Do Not Die in Their War. And the second is The Imperative of the Nigerian Revolution. I call them painful books because they are books that I am writing from a place of very deep pain. I am seeing my country unraveling in real time. And I'm saying that it is because of base men who think nothing of their future or the future of their children or that of any other person for that matter.
Yes.
Completely consumed by their own sybaritic pursuits. And it's painful to watch. And I see the Nigerian people allowing themselves to be distracted by the many games and shenanigans, taking side with their oppressors against themselves. They are allowing themselves to be divided along tribal lines, in fact, it's crazy, even in what you call the homogeneous Yoruba, within a state like Oyo State, for instance, you have the Ibadan, Oke-Ogun divide. You have all sorts of divide everywhere. The common people cannot see the commonality of their own afflictions, but they are taking sides with their oppressors. So I saw that increasingly, and that was what I sought to do with Do Not Die in Their War. My intention was to make sure that the Nigerian people understand clearly that they are taking sides. It's like the antelope taking side between the leopard, in a quarrel between the leopard and the lion. One of them is definitely going to end up, they are fighting and you are there, you are clapping. They will eat you when they are done. Or you go and join them to be fighting. You will end up on the supper dish.
Of course.
So at the end of the day, I was seeing too much of this. Especially in 2014, 2015, I couldn't hold myself back anymore. That was when I started writing Do Not Die in Their War. Now, the intention was to unveil the Nigerian state to the Nigerian people. Now, I wrote the book and I realized very quickly that it wasn't, for me, it's about putting the knowledge out there. So on his first anniversary, as we said of Baba, once he has recorded something, he doesn't play it again. I let it. It's available for free on my website. Anyone can download it for free.
What's your website, please?
DeleFarotimi.com.
Okay.
That's all. You can download it for free. Those who want to buy can go to the store. Those who are buying outside the country can go to Amazon. But the second one, The Imperative of the Nigerian Revolution, it was actually the book I originally set out to write. But I found that I couldn't write it without writing "Do Not Die in Their War," because I wouldn't have provided the context for what I was pushing. It is obvious to me that Nigeria is broken and it can only be fixed by systemic change. And that is what a revolution is. You change the direction. The only way you can change the trajectory of Nigeria is to actually break the system and rebuild and recreate. This system is designed to fail. That is what it is designed to. It's designed to deliver benefits only to the rulers and their economic
ruiners.
The ruiners. They are the only ones for whom the system has been designed. So when they are telling you they want to create so many more states, it's because they want to create so many more feeding troughs. When pigs are feeding,
there you go.
And you then need to create more feeding points for the multitude of pigs, because the pigs have multiplied actually. What you are finding is that the ruling class has morphed. There are more and more of them. They are admitting more people from the Agbero class, from the Madras class, from the traditional
Yahoo class.
From the Yahoo class. So there are more military men retiring in need of public office, more policemen. There will be more Kiaris who will require immunity, for instance, just like Buruji before him. So you will find very quickly.
Right. So these are the two books so
Those
far.
are the two books. And it's also available for download.
Please, can you go over your website again? Someone just asked that.
Farotimi.com.
So
just my name.com.
Farotimi.com. Sir, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Today
we've been enlightened, we've been educated, we've been schooled, and we hope you're going to come back to the People's Perspective again for yet another edition.
Pleasure.
Fantastic.
Maybe we'll ask him to our in-house consultant.
Okay.
On constitutional and federal matters.
Indeed. All right, it's time for us to say goodbye. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Dele. And Big Bird, it's always a pleasure having conversation with you on the People's Perspective.
You make my Friday, baby.
That's right.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. I'm making a group myself, Big Bird Kuti on Instagram, Real Seun Kuti on Twitter, Seun Kuti on Facebook.
We are Lagos Talks 91.3.
Let's talk.